Hi friends! Welcome back to Pretty and Pierced. We are super excited. Today we are going to be interviewing somebody very special.
We are happy to announce that we are interviewing the owner and founder of H2Ocean, which is a piercing and tattoo aftercare company that we absolutely adore. We love the brand, we love the products, and we use them in the shop all of the time.
So without further ado, everybody welcome Eddie Kolos.
Diamond bones, wanna be it, wanna feel it.
All right.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Great. How about you girls?
Very good. We're super excited. Thank you for taking the time to sit and talk to us today.
It really means a lot.
Oh, well, I've done a couple of these, and I'm actually going to have my own podcast here soon, too, as well, with a bunch of professionals on there. So might as well practice, right?
Yeah, hopefully we can, roles reversed one day. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have about an hour to spare, we have a good list of questions to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, so we wanted to start off by talking about how we met you. We were so caught off guard. I don't know if you remember, we were at the Centers Expo, and I did some corset piercings on my beautiful colleague, and you actually stopped us and were like, hey, I'm the owner of H2Ocean, and my jaw was to the floor.
Yeah.
That was crazy exciting.
I think we were both a little baffled. We're like, no way we're actually meeting this man right now. Like, what's going on? Just because your product is so famous in the industry, and at our shop, we literally use it all the time. So it was just really exciting, yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we also kind of want to do a little introduction for you to our viewers so they know exactly who you are and kind of just what you do. Obviously, this is kind of just like the tip of the iceberg. We know you do a whole lot, but Eddie is the owner and founder of H2Ocean, which is the product that we use all the time for our piercing aftercare, and he does a whole lot more than that. He does tattoo aftercare as well as shampoos, conditioners, numbing.
Some things we heard about.
A whole lot of products. He was the first piercing aftercare spray, first tattoo ointment, first aftercare foam soap, first lidocaine foam, first pro team in the industry, and it was launched in 2001. So he is a pretty badass in the industry.
Did we get all that right?
Yeah. There was actually, I'm the inventor of the pretty much piercing tattoo aftercare that's all natural in the whole world.
Yeah.
So back when I started in 2001, there wasn't that many shops. All the conventions were owned by bikers, so they were really small. It was a really niche little market, but now it blew up. And but the thing behind it is I had this idea to use ocean ingredients, natural ingredients, to make a better product to be safe, because a lot of the chemical products out there and the dyes, the alcohols, they're all linked to causing cancer and problems too with piercings. And piercings is basically, a foreign object that your skin will try to push out. So there was a lot of piercings that wouldn't even heal properly with the proper aftercare, which provides the mineral content of the Red Sea, which is 82 trace elements to minerals. It's very important to each living cell to, make those cells strong so they're not dying off, and you don't want to kill them with chemicals.
Absolutely.
So they're baby cells that need to grow from underneath. Your skin cells grow from underneath and push out the dead cells, right? Just like everything. Your biggest organ of your body, which is your skin, and your skin is made to protect you from the harsh environments outside, but its main function is to get rid of toxins, like our sweat, our secretion, and everything. So anything that gets toxins underneath in the subdermal cells will try to get pushed out by our inner cells on our immune system.
Absolutely.
That's really
I know nowadays, for a long time it was use antibacterial soap, use hydrogen peroxide, use all these crazy things.
All chemicals.
And now you ask any professional piercer, use sterile saline solution, nothing else. But it's really cool to hear a little bit of the science behind everything.
And then I think one of our biggest questions for you is, like, we were looking into your history and just like what you did before this, and I know you were a professional diver, or still am, right?
Yeah.
Everything you've always done has been connected to the ocean. What brought you from just mainly focusing on surfing and swimming to the tattoo and piercing industry? Like, what was that jump in for you?
Ever since I've known, I've been riding my bike to the beach, free diving, even before diving, and I started researching marine aquariums back when there wasn't even a coral reef or shark tanks before that, and we just kind of built saltwater aquariums using acrylic glass, and I met with a lot of marine biologists back then. And marine biology, even when I went to just 2 years of college and in high school, was a class that I always wanted to take because of my connection of collecting things and seeing the underwater world, which was really, so fascinating to me. But that's where the idea and the actual education came from, is just being experienced about the ocean and having a boat when I was like 13 years old, before GPS and everything, and just going out fishing and doing everything water related or extreme sports related. But the idea really came to me after working in the skincare industry for a suntan lotion company. And I was a regional sales manager, so I learned all about the distribution. And since I was in sales, they gave me, the inside, look at ingredients. And at one time, it was, an announcement that all the sunscreens out there are causing skin cancer, and they're supposed to actually help you, protect you from skin cancer. And it was because of ingredients that were put in there. And a lot of mineral oils too, which are bad for your skin. It's like baby oil, clogs your pores. They had made that for suntanning purposes, to get burnt, not to actually protect you. And those are like seed oils too, that basically causing, skin cancer. So they had to take some of the ingredients out of there. They gave them, a year or two to actually change their formulation. And then I learned a lot about like how it wasn't stable. It failed again once they replaced the ingredients. So they had to get a recall. So we were actually going to the stores and pulling it off the shelf. And at that time too, I was like, a really harsh time in my life. September 11th happened right at 2001. I already had some idea that I wanted to make a new product line, and one of the employees, or actually all the employees that I had, were trying to get me to become the big boss for that company, because I really brought that company from a small little company to grow it into pretty much the number 3 in the world, and it was Australian gold. Wow. And in Florida, we have a lot of sun, so that was the biggest market that they had. But because of contracts and distributors that had hired me, I got blocked. So it was kind of a time in my life that I was planning on having kids. So I ended up needing the money. Bonuses were taken away. So I had to kind of change whatever came to my mind and take the risk of a new, business. And I've had businesses before. So I'm an entrepreneur. I wasn't afraid to kind of go and take the risk. But this idea came through with just me and a friend of mine sitting there and going, how come anybody's not selling ocean water? The benefits of it, just healing up a cut, a scrape, when we go diving, when we go surfing, it just heals so much faster. And the ocean water back then too was a lot more clean, less polluted, but there's still pollution and microbes in there. And since I knew a lot about the marine aquarium business, it was easy for me to just take and formulate this product that I wanted to sell as a first aid spray for all skin, just anything. And I didn't want to use a chemical-based preservative, because some of the harsh preservatives out there too are too harsh, and I wanted to try to create something all natural. My mom raised me as a naturalist too as well. She's from Hungary, and the Europeans used to grow their own food and cook. So we had all kinds of different remedies, even from grandma, to use on the body for when we were getting sick. So it was just really easy for me to kind of come up with this product line. And to find it in the tattoo and the piercing market at that time, the doctors and one of my best friends, his wife, which was a friend of mine too as well, she was a nurse. She brought it to her doctor, which was a heart surgeon, to try to use it after surgery, but they wouldn't touch it. They don't know anything about that. If it's not written in their book, if it's not in their, college class, they're not going to try out something new. So they were like, "Where's your white papers?" So that was like a stopping point of me getting it into the medical field. So I had to find a place that we can actually get it sold to. And the nurse that was my friend asked me about, getting a belly button piercing, because that was really popular back then. Every girl was getting their belly button pierced. So, and I told her, I said, yeah, I got a friend of mine that owns a piercing and tattoo shop in Pompano Beach, Florida, close to the beach too as well, good friends of mine. And when she went there, she actually got her belly button pierced. Great experience, but she came back with this paper and she was like, "Oh my God, he's recommending me to mix my own sea salt and water mixture and soak the piercing." And then he had antibacterial soap in his Aftercare. He had, some other things where, you could crush a
like aspirin and stuff.
An aspirin up to kind of lower the swelling and everything. And so I said, "Well, why don't you try my product?" So she already believed in it. She took it to the doctor. So she tried it and it healed super fast. And he was like, "Man, what'd you use on that?" And she's like, "Eddie, who's your friend, made this product."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh," he called me up and he's like, he told me about the industry. He was in the industry already for probably close to 10 years. So he was one of those pioneers in piercing too as well.
Yeah.
I had my piercings done before even my products were developed, and I know how hard it is to actually heal a piercing with just antibacterial soap and getting in the shower or having, tap water, which is all full of chemicals, irritated, and then, constantly oozing secretions. So, I went to him and told him about the product and tried a piercing out to myself. Then my partner that I actually brought in, he got a piercing too. We wanted to create something really great. So we found about a year later or less, this bag in a can system, which kind of keeps any kind of preservative, because it keeps the air out of our product. So there's not like a pump spray, which you're actually pumping air out and then it pumps the air back in, so it contaminates the product. Anything that has minerals and clean water, you get a little bit of sunlight to it and a little bit of heat, it's going to start growing bacteria. So, knowing in the industry of how Australian Gold had to have, harsh preservatives in their pump sprays and everything to keep it, from going bad on the shelf for 2 years. It's the shelf life study.
Yeah.
So I was actually the second customer of the bag on valve system, which a bag is inside the can and protects it from using any preservatives or any air from getting in there. So then we created a sterile product. He told me how important it was to become sterile and everything. So, I listened to people and, And that's how I learned to create the products, is just the research that I've done. And back then, we had really no internet like we have now.
Yeah.
We had the internet, but you didn't know, but we had to wait for this buzzing sound and just get on, and all we did is email each other. Yeah. There was not a bunch of information. So it was all kind of reading through books, listening to the professionals, and just constantly coming up with ideas. And not everyone has idea minds like me. I'm an inventor. I'm an author. I marketed this product too as well. It's it just came from self-thought and sleeping on things. But, you have to be really kind of quick at going into the marketplace and do it correctly. There's a lot of things that are out there that are harmful, and people just want to make a quick buck on it. But I felt like it was more that I wanted to help people, and I still constantly help people. And that's how I found the tattoo and piercing market. And since they were a tattoo shop, the tattoo moisturizing foam came out next, which has not been copied. And I did get a patent on the sea salt based products in the healthcare for skincare. So I kept anybody from using sea salt. So when you see saline solutions out there, right, you only have two elements, sodium and chloride. Yeah, your body needs sodium and chloride, but too much of it is going to not be good.
Yeah.
And it's just like rinsing off the actual, the piercing with some, safe water that's purified.
Yeah.
But mine actually provides you the 82 trace elements and minerals that are actually working synergistically with your body's immune system, feeding the cells what they need.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I got chills as you were saying all of that. That's insane.
Yeah, that's super cool. So the first was the piercing spray, and then you said the second was the soap, correct?
Then no, it wasn't the soap. It was actually the moisturizing foam, tattoo aftercare.
Right.
And no one really understood how to use that. Before that was a chemical-based product called Tattoo Goo, and I was the very next one, but I was the very first all-natural tattoo aftercare in the world too.
Gotcha.
And it came in a can, because I didn't want anybody to go through cross-contamination. All the piercers and all the tattoo artists always talked about like cross-contamination. Yeah. It also should be thought about like how your client is going to contaminate their wound or contaminate their actual. You mentioned everybody mentions don't touch your piercings with dirty hands. Well, that's contamination. But what about if you're sticking your finger inside a jar to actually put, tattoo aftercare on, and then they stick their finger back into the container? They're contaminating the container, and then they're also, what if they're not using clean hands and not
their fingernails
being safe?
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Let's see. So, out of all of your products that you've come out with since then, do you think the piercing aftercare spray is still #1 seller, or has it kind of grown to be something else since then?
So Amazon really took over all of our online sales, of course, just like everyone else. They're a huge kind of monopoly. They destroyed a lot of small businesses, and we actually went through Amazon sales, and we had a lot of rogue sellers on there too as well. But the amount of sales we got from there in the reviews, we have over, I think about 75 to 80,000 reviews since we started with Amazon, and nobody could touch that. Yeah. And it's, I think, like 4.7 stars. The only bad review we ever got was the clogged piercing spray, which that happens with every product that's made in manufacturing, tips or products that are, you should be able to know that there's like 1% fail in production. but we always take care of our customers. But yeah, our piercing aftercare spray is our number one seller because, a piercing would take longer to heal with just one bottle. So piercers should always offer, the small one for the travel size, the bigger one at home. And even if they use it as directed, it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks. And piercing sometimes can take up to 6 months. So, and if they're using our product, I can guarantee you that they're cutting that healing time down in half or even more compared to what it used to be. And salines will help at least alleviate some of the healing times, but not as much as what our product does. I mean, you're going to save time and problems are solved by just using the H2Ocean products from the start, from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
Which product is your hands down go-to? Like, if you had to, ride or die with one of them.
Only one.
You're deserted on an island and you only get one.
So, I believe, and I knew this from the very beginning, my mouthwash is going to be our number one seller.
Yeah.
We're doing research right now with a lot of cancer patients, helping them with dry mouth, canker sores. I mean, it could be used also on wounds. It's not going to harm you. If you had that bottle on an island and you had nothing else, you would be able to use that for just about everything. But you could also drink it. It helps out stomach viruses, gets rid of sore throat, cuts down the common cold. It is going to clean your mouth. I mean, your mouth is the most probably important part on your body because that's where you need to feed yourself and drink. That's where you put your fuel in. It's kind of like the car's gas tank. You're not going to be able to run without having something, intake into your body, which then goes down into your stomach and processes that for the mineral content, and that is where your blood cells take those minerals to your other cells. Yeah. So it's one of the most important, parts of your body that you need to protect to make sure that you're not getting infection. And that's why your brain and your lysosomes and your body's immune system sends all its defense, because that's where you're breathing in bacteria, so your saliva, or you heard, your dog's mouth is the cleanest, even though, they're licking their own asses, but the enzymes in there are there to protect them from getting sick. And when you cut your finger, your natural instinct is to suck on your finger, because we licked our own wounds before even medicine was around. But that's why I use actual enzyme in our original piercing aftercare spray. It's called lysozyme. Mm-hmm. And lysozyme exists in our saliva, our tears, our secretion, our saltwater system in our body. And that's what protects us from getting bad bacteria infections. Because if you cut yourself, that you can get an infection just from a cut easily. But if you cut your mouth or you bite your cheek, usually you're going to probably be all right, unless you have diabetes or something else going on wrong in your body where there's an infection or inflammation.
That's crazy, yeah. I wouldn't have thought about it like that with the mouthwash, but now that you're explaining it all, I'm like, duh.
Yeah.
We mentioned a little
Well, it just went viral because somebody posted something about tonsil stones, gets rid of tonsil stones too right away. Yeah. And that's something that, nobody has thought of, but, there's a lot of people that are suffering from, tonsillitis, strep throat, this and that. Yeah. And then all they do is give you pain medication and some antibiotics. Yeah. But this is something that's all natural that's going to actually probably provide a faster relief than some of those other drug industry companies are creating.
Definitely.
You've convinced me. Sold.
We talked a little bit earlier, the beginning was 2001, rough time frame, a lot's going on in the world. We did have a question about, was it a humble beginning for you? You kind of already were answering this for us, but from your friend's studio. And what was his name, by the way, and his studio's name? Do you remember?
Yeah, the studio name was Funhouse Tattoos in Pompano Beach.
Okay.
The piercer, who is now, he passed away maybe about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
His name was Eric, but he went by Bunky.
Bunky? Okay, so
Bunky.
From Bunky's studio to, like, being, you know, everybody knows about H2Ocean now, at least in the industry. Did it take some time for that jump to happen, or was it kind of a hit from the start?
Well, I mean, he was doing the piercings. He invited me to a tattoo show to present, you know, my products there. I got the feel of how it went down. And then he mentioned a couple of other places that I should probably reach out to. He gave me the name Steve Hayworth, who's very famous in the body mod and piercing world too. He's an inventor as well.
Yeah.
And we went, and the very next year I went to Pomona. I sent my little brother out to Pomona. I was only there for one day, and I told him to hunt down Steve Hayworth and talk to him about something and get him to try out the product. He did a test on metal mohawks that he was doing implants, and the implants are just like the micro piercings.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he did one side with just saline, just like they said, and the other side with H2Ocean. The other side healed so fast, he couldn't believe how fast it healed, and healed perfectly. And then he got excited and reached back out to me. And then, you know, like he wanted to work with me. And I told him, you know, like in the surf industry, we have like sponsorships. So he became the first sponsored artist. He was doing some research for us. He told me about the APP, you know, and we, you know, went that route and pushed that product more. The tattoo Aftercare really didn't go crazy. I mean, the tattoos, people just didn't really care. They just told everyone, go get A&D or go get Vaseline back then, you know, and they expected back then to do, you know, touch-ups, free touch-up, you know. Tattoos were only, you know, $60 to $100 back there. Pick it off the wall. If you got something that just kind of got destroyed, they'd say, come on back and I'll do it. You know, I'll give you your touch-up. Maybe it's going to take 2 times to take. That was offered. And I kept saying, you know, I think it's pretty much the Aftercare, but also I didn't realize, you know, some of the inks weren't sterilized. They weren't really, you know, it was a different time, you know. I mean, it was the biker industry that was pushing the tattoo market in the conventions, and there wasn't really that much research and development on anything new back then. So I was one of the first ones to kind of push it. And but I did, you know, join the APP. I joined the National Tattoo Association and the Association of Professional Tattooists. I sponsored those for years. I've been behind them. Some of the people had turned on me just because, you know, I basically created something that they thought was so simple, and they didn't know how I got a patent on the ocean, but I got it, you know. But I just continue to just try to help people out and go to as many conventions around the world. I have over 1 million miles on Delta alone, and traveled all over the world just through the tattoo and piercing industry.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's everyone's dream, I think.
I think our next question for you was actually about the first tattoo convention that you went to. How was the convention? What was it like for you, just feeling like an outsider trying to get into the industry and trying to promote your product at one of these conventions?
You did say you were a salesman, so was it easy for you think?
I had no tattoos at that time. People were coming up to me. A lot of them were bikers, and they were like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm trying to sell piercing Aftercare. I just made a tattoo Aftercare. They didn't even know what Aftercare was. The word Aftercare wasn't even really used.
Yeah.
So it was kind of difficult, but, you know, I just went with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, I had drinks with them, talked to them. Basically, what was it like? I mean, it was the South Florida Tattoo Convention was my first convention, and Funhouse Tattoos, my buddy's shop, actually sponsored it. So since they were the sponsor, it was kind of luck that, you know, when he was introducing me to people didn't really want to just throw me out because I didn't have any tattoos.
Yeah.
Because really people that were showing up were just covered with tattoos, or, you know, I mean, it was a tough crowd, but I didn't care.
Right.
It still is, you know. I'm pretty big. I'm 6'3", and, you know, I can hold my own. I was in MMA training at that time too as well, so
you're like, I'm fine.
I didn't have any fear around them.
Yeah.
Just a jack of all trades over here.
Right.
I love that for you.
So on the website it says that the Adrenaline Expo was like record breaking. What does that mean necessarily?
So that was my first show that I actually put together.
Okay.
I think that was back in 2004.
Okay.
And my idea was to have something totally different than the tattoo industry has ever seen. And I called it an Adrenaline Expo because it wasn't an adrenaline rush. We had it at the Hard Rock in Fort Lauderdale, which was a new Hard Rock there. And since it was on the Indian reservation, we were able to do all kinds of crazy things. So we had Steve Hayworth there, who was doing his piercing show. We had some of the guys that I met that he introduced me to that were like suspension teams. And we set up these big trusts that were for, you know, main stage trusts in a big square. It looked like kind of like the octagon with lights all over it and everything, but it wasn't set up for music. It was 4 or 5 guys swinging all around on hooks, you know. Then there was Paul Booth and his whole tattoo shop coming out and doing, you know, live painting and tattooing in their little section where they were doing the first part of Art Fusion, you know, where artists switched up on each other and didn't know exactly what they were going to come out with, and they just went off their mind and fused their art together. And his whole shop was, you know, invited, so they closed down their shop in New York and came out and did that. Then we had the world record breaking how many piercings to get done with Guinness Book of World Record in one day. And this guy was just getting play piercings all over the body. I mean, I think we were up to like 1,000-something piercings on him.
Yeah.
And
I've
then
seen a video online of this girl, like it was her whole arms, like her chest. It was like 2 piercers just doing their thing, and I was like,
yeah, it was
like,
one piercer. It was just one other person was putting all the stuff together so he could just keep poking, keep poking,
that's
keep
crazy.
poking.
That's so
you
cool.
know, until this guy could actually take. And he was also the first one that ever got an eyelid piercing. You know, they put a hoop inside the eyelid.
Yeah.
So there was all the crazy things that were going on back there. But, you know, my products were, you know, already known for about 2-3 years. And these professionals really did their homework to say, you know, this is the product. This is what we want to do. And, you know, I said, hey, let's do it. So, it was pretty crazy.
That's so cool. I wish I could go back and be there, you know, like that's amazing.
Well, we have it videotaped, and I'm eventually going to try to get, and finally got somebody to do some editing, so we'll get it all kind of where we're going into our 24th year, so we're going to have a big party 25th year.
Wow.
Hopefully by that time we'll have some kind of like review of 25 years of H2Ocean on like some kind of video or something that we could promote.
That's awesome.
That's super exciting. I can't wait to watch that personally.
Yeah.
We're going to be sitting there with a bucket of popcorn kind of just geeking.
Right. That's amazing.
Well, all the stuff that we've done is like, it's never been done after. I mean, didn't bring it all together at once, like I did.
Yeah, we had a few not a question about Steve Hayworth,
But yeah, we were wanting to talk about him. He was the first pro member, correct?
Yeah.
So I say we, like I'm a part of your team. You launched in 2001. You said by 2004 y'all were having the adrenaline convention. Somewhere in between there is when you met Steve, right?
I met him in 2003, I believe. 2002, my brother had met him.
Okay.
So 2003,
That's
and
when
then
you heard.
I was already putting him on the team by 2004, and that's why he was invited to come out to the Adrenaline Expo.
Super cool.
And he was our very first pro team member. And still to this day, we're friends. We don't talk that much because we're both busy in our lives.
Yeah.
But if he needs anything, I'm here for him, But there was, a lot of times when I was traveling around the United States that I would see him. But I started stepping into the, world traveling, Japan, China, Taiwan, Singapore, all over Europe, and Indonesia. I just went to other places and countries to get, my products to register them at the other, health administrators.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to do with, United States products are looked at as like they're great, but they ask for a lot of information. So if you don't have all the documentation to support it, you're not going to get into some of these countries. And Europe is really strict too as well. So that was one of our goals, and we achieved that a long time ago.
Yeah.
I love that for you because I know that U.S. products are kind of just always known to have preservatives and chemicals and a lot of extra BS that's not needed in it. So I kind of love that they do all of that, and the fact that you're...
Well, yeah, now the truth is coming out. Like Europe actually, banned a lot of the dyes and a lot of the, ingredients that we were allowed to use in our foods and our cosmetics here in the United States that were very harmful to us.
Yeah.
And I knew that too as well, because like the dyes, when I first came out with a mouthwash, I put a dye in my mouthwash, and soon after 6 months, somebody came to me and goes, "Why would you put a dye in there?" And I go, "Well, mouthwashes, if they're clear, no one's going to believe in it. They're going to think I'm selling just regular salt water. I wanted to show it's like minty, fresh, blue, and they kind of, opened up my mind and said, go out and test it, go into your lab and test it. And I did. And I took the blue coloring out of it, and it wasn't stable. It took me almost a year and a half to get it stable. And I said, there's something wrong in that damn dye that actually was keeping bacteria from growing.
Oh, wow.
That is crazy.
Can I, it's just 1 minute, I gotta help my dog.
You're all good. Thank you. Alrighty, friends.
What kind of dog do you have?
It's a boxer pit mix that we rescued. She's like 14 and a half now. And she's always had skin issues, full of like allergies.
Do you use H2Ocean on
she's
her?
very smart.
He does on the foot. I think he said that whenever he walked away, but for the cancer, for
That's
sure.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And we also make a pet product called, Vet Aid.
I think we sold
We also
that,
make another product which is called Ocean Aid, which is our medical grade, kind of more enzymes, more related to burns and diabetic wounds. So I own a bunch of different companies. I think right now I have about 10 companies, 2 in Europe.
Casually.
Subtle flex.
No big deal. So we were talking about the pro team. You have a lot of like really impressive people on there.
Whole list.
Yeah, like if I go over some, we have Bob Tyrell, Big C's, Jack Rudy, Jessie N, Maddie Sips. Those are all amazing people that we look up to. I guess Like, who, we know who the first was. Who's been the most recent? Do you know? And is that something that you do personally to talk to those people, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, the most recent was some girl from Poland. Does a lot of seminars. We don't want to say that they're like schools or anything like that, because you're not going to actually learn from for tattooing or piercing right away.
Yeah.
But seminars are a good way to actually give some true artists, or even, you know, people, little ideas of how they can actually better involve themselves with how much it actually takes to become a pro.
Yeah.
And so she was really good at it, and we put her on. I just want to call her Kathy, but I don't really know how to say her last name. But the beginning, when we started this, I chose 5 artists. So I had Bob Terrell for Black and Gray, and Jack Rudy, because Jack Rudy was a single needle black and gray artist too. That was a legend at that time. It still is a legend. I mean, he was one of my favorite. And then Tony Olivas, which he passed away too. He was a great mentor to a lot of people. His attitude was just about helping people out, but he had those quick one-liners that everyone just loved to hear, you know, where he got agitated with people, because it is hard work to do what, you know, you're doing if you want to become that true artist. And he was black and gray too as well. So we had our 3 black and grays. So, and then, you know, Jesse N popped up with these amazing, you know, colors that popped that I didn't see pop. And he told me that he used H2Ocean.
No,
and so he actually was an H2Ocean. Every one of them actually used H2Ocean, but, you know, Jack Rudy didn't. When I met him, he didn't use any Aftercare.
Yeah,
and he didn't know nothing about H2Ocean. So I pushed it on him, and it was so weird because I didn't have any tattoos, and he was not like wanting to support anybody that did not have tattoos. But I was getting ready to have tattoos, and I told him, I said, man, I'm
like, I have an appointment
just waiting for that one day for that right person, and that right person's going to be you, Jack.
Aww,
you know?
really?
And I want one that says paid up sucker right here with $1 million. And he did Jesse James's paid up sucker, and he goes, I would never do a second tattoo. All my tattoos are kind of custom to everybody. And, you know, he wanted to tell me how tattoos were pick something off the wall, but his shop was pretty much the only custom tattoo shop back in the day. Like he didn't pay attention to any of those damn flash designs, you know, like you came to him for that custom. And so I was really intrigued about that. And I said that, you know, it's like me when I wear, you know, some kind of clothing and I see somebody else have it in my school. I'm like, man, I'm going to get rid of that shirt. I'm not going to wear that no more because I want to be original.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so the color artist also, Dino Cook, which is one of my best friends too as well. And, you know, he was a hard one to get on the team, but I really appreciated him on how he kind of went about, you know, like it's not going to be easy to change, you know, like his tattoos already heal good, but they can heal better, you know, they don't have to do touch-ups. And so, you know, it took me a little while to get him on the team, but, you know, like Tony Olivas was that guy that was able to kind of talk to everybody, you know, and everyone kind of knew Tony as like the godfather of tattooing, you know, like he was the pimp. So, so those were the 5 tattoo artists that I put on my team first.
Yeah.
And then when we had our first Rhode Island tattoo convention, we kind of made an announcement about the pro team, you know, going to put 3 or 4 more people on there. And people showed up for the dinner, and then we had this big old dinner party, and everybody was having a great old time drinking and eating and Tony gets up and yells, "Listen the fuck up, people." This is an important meeting. This wasn't a fucking dinner party, so it was kind of like, at that point, I was like, those are my guys. Those are my heroes to actually, stand up and settled all this crazy party going. I mean, it was a different time. It was great time to actually grow up in that era of the tattoo market.
Definitely, I can only imagine,
I'm like so jealous right now. What does being a pro team member mean to you? Like, what does it entail, I guess, necessarily?
Because it's representing your brand and your company,
Yeah, well, so the pro team is something that we say, like Tony used to say, and Jack, you don't know shit until you've gotten at least 12 or 15 years under your belt. Mm-hmm. Because there's different skin types, thicknesses, people that have diseases, dry skin, oily skin. You got to know actually what that person is going to need for the aftercare, what kind of ink, what kind of reactions, what things can happen to the skin and how they take care of it. So even after 5 years, he says, you're gonna fuck some shit up, so like, he was basically just telling it how it is. So we actually, for the pro team members, if we brought somebody on, it was usually not my decision. It was decision between the original ones, cool. And we're going to create that kind of story on the original1.com, which we're going to brand eventually too as well. And they helped me out to let me know it wasn't all about like, being a friend of somebody that they known for forever. It was their work ethic and what they did in the industry, so we've had only very few that we kind of let go, because they just didn't, we have some rules, we want to make sure that, not just the loyalty behind it, which we don't have a problem with because they love the products. They all use our products. I mean, other pro team members on other companies, we see them all the time, like using our product or somebody else's product, but they hang a banner for something else. But we don't have that problem. I think it's more about, how they hold themselves, like, we don't want to have any harassing or stuff going on, a bad record on our name too as well. So, but we just have some standards, not too many. It's just it's all about how they held themselves up and can relate in the tattoo world the way it was and the way it is now, and definitely. Social media, is crazy now. So we're not just looking for the biggest social media, numbers, but if that person is doing something that the public is interested in, but learning from that person, it's about education now, and that's what we're looking for in the pro team members. But then we have the loyalty team because we have up-and-comers, and we believe that those guys really have real artistic talent. So we started them off at the loyalty team because there could be somebody out there nowadays that only been tattooing or piercing for 3 years and that are amazing at it. They're just raw talented person. How did they, have an eye like that? Jack Reedy would say that. It's just mind blowing. After 3 years, they can learn all that stuff. Yeah. And they're just naturally talented. But, even going into the skin and doing all these other things, maybe they have one, like a portrait artist might not be able to do some other kind of there wasn't as many customers for the tattoo industry. So when somebody walked in and said that they wanted some, donkey on themselves or whatever it is, they had to figure out, all right, well, I'm putting a donkey on somebody.
Right, figure out
even if they didn't do it.
Yeah, definitely. That's really, really cool. We have on here, as an entrepreneur yourself and somebody who's obviously made a name for himself, as two little entrepreneurs over here, what is the best advice you could give us to building our brand and believing in it, I guess?
So, yeah, first is believing in yourself and believing in the brand that you're promoting. Then you really have to have time to sleep on things and research. You have to do your homework, and the only way to really do your homework is not by believing what somebody else is telling you, is going out and seeing it, like experiencing it. So that means you're going to be taking a risk. Some things are not going to work out, but you're going to learn from those. So every time that you have something that actually knocks you down, do not kind of turn and say it's a failure, because anything that you believe in, you can make happen. It's just how much work are you going to put towards that? That isn't anything. Like, if I'm not great in art, but if I actually wanted to, I could probably become a really great artist by practicing and putting all my effort to it. Even a sports guy that's got talent, he didn't get that talent from just sitting on the couch. He got up early in the morning and he went out and played basketball or whatever sport he wanted to do until he got it. So it's more about the work ethic that you put into something. And when you have that dream of believing in yourself and your product that you're trying to push, you probably are going to dream about it. You're going to, get up and do it, and you're going to learn it, and you're going to make mistakes, but you're going to just keep on going forward and forward. And eventually, whatever you're going to put in your mind that it's going to take you 10 years to get to where you want to be, yeah, that's a great goal. You should have goals, but it's going to take a little longer. So you're going to have to go through some tough times in anything that you start up.
Yeah. Thank you. When I first met you, though I guess the only time I've met you, but when I met you, for those who haven't seen on our podcast, I went on stage. We were in a Miss Sinful competition. It was like a tattooed beauty pageant, basically. And I was so nervous. I could hear the tremble in my voice through the microphone. And I was talking about how I want to own a studio and I want to, follow my dad's footsteps in the industry.
Follow in his footsteps. I want to own my own studio one day, and y'all are going to see it happen.
And you're going to do it, I promise you. Thank you so much.
And I got off that stage and was walking back to my booth, and you stopped me and you said, "You're going to get there one day, and I can't wait to watch." And that stuck with me. And this whole video, you've been saying that you like to help people. I hope you know that helped me so much, and I won't forget that. That sat with me, and I appreciate you taking kindness towards me.
Yeah. I mean, it's even getting up there is one step.
Yeah.
So just take one step at a time, and the more you do it, the more easy it's going to get. I mean, that's it. And but if you end up just kind of down on yourself, it's okay. Everyone gets down on themselves, but you should have a little bit of a better attitude and look around of how many other people struggle and they don't have anything else. So, we're fortunate to have, 2 arms, 2 legs, mouth, not sick. Just do whatever you want to do. And I mean, I've broken a lot of bones, so I'm an extreme sports guy. So, and pain wasn't, I went for it. I went big airs, everything. It didn't care, and I think back at it and I'm like, would I have changed anything? Maybe I shouldn't have done all those jumps. And, I have a story, so I'm like, man, I'm still alive. I'm grateful to being here, and I'm able to, walk around. I had some serious surgeries where surgeons couldn't even fix my leg. I kept trying to find the best surgeon for it. I got one surgery, and it was done correctly, and I haven't had any problems. I'm about to run my first marathon next year with Dino Cook.
Congrats.
With metal leg, 13 screws, broken ankle, all kinds of stuff, and I know I can do it, and I'll train for it. I don't even have that much time to train, but I'm making a little bit of effort towards it, and I think I can do it. I run somewhere around 6 to 7 miles twice a week now, but I have ran already a 10-mile run nonstop. Does it hurt? Yeah, it does, but it hurts pretty good to actually feel like you can make it.
Definitely. Out of your whole career so far, what has been the biggest takeaway that you've come to realize?
Something that's just always stuck with you.
That stuck with me, the biggest takeaway, and
or the biggest thing that you've learned, I guess.
I guess life lesson in a sense.
Per se. You think.
I think, the world changes when you have kids, and that's, I think, the biggest take on is the, about to start a family, and you're like, I grew up without having a father, and then I just felt like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a father. I'm going to try my best. But in my mind, I worked really, really hard to actually provide them what I did not have. But I kind of I don't think you need everything, so it's not necessarily to just dream about having the money and providing for everything. Everyone has a different life out there, and just enjoy it, enjoy it with your family. It's important, but not all families are perfect either. So, but I feel for a lot of people like that. But if you make an effort to, do that, do it right.
Finding a good balance.
Be a good figure out there for the people that you're bringing up into the world. Make sure that they're, knowledgeable and they're happy, because it's kind of sad to have children that are not cared for out there. So we have a big, at least heart for, sick kids that don't have a family and stuff like that. And I think that's the biggest thing that will stick with us forever. And we'll like to help people out, especially kids, as much as we can. And that's why I push so hard.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us today and talking to us. We've learned a lot, and
we just appreciate the bits of knowledge that you've given us. And I know Kylie too, we can't wait to see you grow in your career. I know you're already pretty big in the industry, but there's no stopping, and I can't wait to see what you do with the cancer research, as well as more aftercare and
absolutely
just everything in general. Just know we're probably your biggest fans ever. We literally give away your product for free at our shop.
Every piercing we do, we give them a bottle of your spray, and we say, this is the stuff, I use it on myself, obviously, so does she. It just means a lot to sit and talk to you, so thank you so much.
Awesome. Send your people to H2Ocean.
Absolutely.
And tell them to learn a lot about our other products too as well, because they're all good. I mean, I really do try to make the safest products out there that are going to be very effective for a lot of people to heal themselves.
And I know we as consumers, we definitely appreciate that. And this is going to be going on YouTube, and I'm going to edit some TikToks. So hopefully hopefully we can push your product a little bit more and kind of just educate the rest of the world. But we appreciate your knowledge, friend.
Okay.
All right, Eddie.
Thanks for having me on. Don't be after careless.
Yes, sir. Bye, friend.
All right. Bye.
That was so scary.
Oh my god.